Hello, Pirates, community, BP community, and KIXEYE. I say hello to KIXEYE at the beginning of this because excuse me just a second, because I'd really like to, I'm in the hopes that KIXEYE will watch this video and take some, learn some lessons from it. This is the Steel Curtain post-raid assessment. It's the raid is over with. It's Wednesday afternoon and just got finished with a 6-day raid. I personally got a little bit over 400 million points in this raid. I spent about 150 coins total in this raid. I know that's a lot for some people, but it's very few for others. This is just how I feel about how the raid went, and I hope it helps some people. All right, guys, this is the kind of the guide of the discussion. This is not a rant at all. I'm not getting on YouTube and posting a bunch of angry crap because things didn't go my way in the raid. That's not what this is about. This is meant to be constructive and helpful, not only to the community, but also to KIXEYE. I think you've got an amazing game. It is fun. I'm hooked. I love the game. I log on every day to play. And I just want it to get better. And I believe you guys want it to get better too. I believe that you want players to log on and play your game. And I do. Now, I'm not a heavy corner at all. I'm a very modest corner. I like to get value out of the game. Being successful in the game to me is spending as little coin as possible. But I do spend coin in the game because I do want to support you. I want to support KIXEYE. I want the lights to stay on. I want the game to continue. So that's how I feel about the coining thing. And this is also not meant to single out any employee at KIXEYE. We've had very fortunate to have had GDA Ruspix and Major Rampage come on all the shows to discuss Outpost 10, to discuss the bounty, and very appreciative of their efforts to close the gap between community and KIXEYE. I think you guys are doing an excellent job in that, and I'm very thankful for it. So I will say that these are just my opinions alone. Not everybody's going to agree with me. I completely understand that. I don't expect everyone to agree with me. There may be some that do agree with me, and if you do, that's fine too. I will be posting a link to this on the Brethren of the Coast page, this video, and also be adding it to the discussion thread, the forum thread on the Steel Curtain event discussion. I hope it's helpful, like I said, guys. And if you agree, fine. If you disagree, fine. Blast me if you want to. It's not meant to be, this is not done out of anger. I just want to reiterate that. All right, targets. Target difficulty versus point payout. I was really excited to get an assault raid. I got really, I don't want to say bored, but I got, it was mundane. Garrison target raid. We had garrison target TLCs. We have garrison target FM. So that does get old. Spotting with tanks and just chunking morts at stuff all the time. For me personally, I was really excited about coming in and kiting targets, using missile fleets. I love missile fleets, so I was excited about that, and I thought the first 2 raids went very well. I'll say this up front, I'm a Phoenix driver. I did not build the Skyfire fleet. I only built what I was told was the Alpha hull, the Tier 7 hull, S-target hull. So I did not build the Skyfires. So now I was really excited about it, and for the most part, I really, really enjoyed this raid series. But I thought this particular raid, with the introduction of the 106 target, the target difficulty versus the point payout was poor. We'll get into with the 106 later in this video, but that's how I kind of felt. Target difficulty versus point payout. I think it had a lot to do with the 106 target. Also had to do with the incredibly high price of the prizes, the have-to-have prizes. If you want to continue to be competitive in the game, the prizes were very high. I thought target accessibility was great. I never went to the world map during this entire raid and could not find a target to hit. They were always there. They were always in the locator. They were close by. I never had to travel over 30 seconds to access a target, whether I was hitting tier 7 or tier 6. So they were all over the map. I do like that they were small. They didn't clog up the map. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that aspect of it. Target reaping, by that I mean you go into a target, you hit part of it, you exit, whether you want to hit it with a different fleet, whether you're prepping it for someone, or if you are going to recharge your charge armors. I only had one target disappear on me the entire raid, and that was the very first day. After that, never had it happen again. So I thought that was great. The targets stayed on the map after you would retreat from them, and I didn't lose anything. Like I said, I just lost one, but it was day one. Things are going to happen day one. Points, seat time that were required. Wow, guys, this to me was a pretty big fail. 100 million points for the hull, weapon, and special. Another 100 million points for the new charged CT armor. That's too much. I mean, I understand that. In my opinion, it's too much. 200 million points. If you don't count tokens, if you don't count anything else, to stay competitive in the game, to have to get 200 million points. Now, I know that some of you are going to say you don't have to have these things to stay competitive. Well, I disagree. There's no way, I believe, that you're going to be able to hit tier 7 targets in the upcoming skirmish raid with Hellraiser Tideseekers. And if you're not able to hit tier 7 targets, you're going to fall behind. You're just going to. For a long time, the standard was one coin per million points, and it applied when you could get the hull, weapon, and special for 30 million points. But now it's 100 million points, and then you've got the charged armor that's another 100 million points. So if you're really going to do the math and sit down and look at points, seat time required, you're looking at 6 coins, or 1 coin. Let me say that 1 coin per 6 million points. If you want to have it all equaled out, because it's excuse me, it's 3 times the cost of time and points required. So you're still looking at 1 coin per million. It just no longer applies. So to me, points and seat time required to do this raid was very poor. I thought it could have been much better. They could have lowered the prices on these things. Overall game quality. Again, guys, lag. Lag is a constant problem, whether it's day-to-day chores, whether it's doing this event. I noticed a lot of times when I was going after the big Hulk, to kite the big Hulk that's in the targets, my screen would jump at the exact time it did not need to. It seems like the lag happens at the most inopportune times. It is an issue. It needs to be addressed. It did not cost me major points, but I did hear from a lot of players it did cost them their entire fleet. It cost me about half of my Phoenix fleet day one. And that brings me into my second bullet here, poor support. Support does not know what game it's supporting. It does not understand. When I go into a target and I lose half a fleet because my fleets will not respond to my clicks, the down arrow, push the down arrow, and the fleet keeps going, and it spins and spins, and all of a sudden the screen refreshes and my fleet's half dead. That's at least 5 or 6 coins. Okay, that's what, 2 to 2.5 hours worth of repair, possibly 3, up to 2 hours 59 minutes and 59 seconds. You write a ticket to support. Support now forwards that ticket to another player, which takes a day. And then when that player, at no fault of their own, the people who are helping, I appreciate your hard work, can't fix that problem. They don't have the authority to fix that problem. They have to forward it back to Kick Support, and for them to tell me, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do about it. That's poor support. You know there's a lag issue. You know players are having problems. At the very least, you can give me 10 coins to my account. 10 coins. That's all it takes. So again, incredibly poor support, not only in the event but in the game as a whole. Support is a major weak link in your chain, KIXEYE. You need to completely redo how you handle support. These people who are sitting there answering these questions need to understand what they're doing. They need to understand the game. I don't know if you outsource that, or I don't know if they're sitting across the hall from you, but you got a problem with support. Again, third bullet, no communication from KIXEYE event discussion. The last time I checked, before I created this video, started this video, is 33 pages worth of posts. I understand that 33 pages of those posts, a lot of it's bullcrap. However, there were less than 10 replies from either a mod or a KIXEYE employee. A KIXEYE representative, which is a mod. You are a KIXEYE representative. You've got moderator under your title. You are representing the company. Less than 10. Again, no communication with your customers. None whatsoever. It's like you bury your heads in the sand and hope it goes away. It's a poor business plan. I do want to also add here about the art. Guys, your art department, you guys are kicking butt. The detail in those targets, especially if you zoom in, if you play zoomed in, the detail that y'all put into those platforms and those turrets is incredible. You guys, hey, kudos to you. The hulls that are coming out now, you guys are doing a great job. It's sharp, it's clear, and it's engaging. You know, the platforms were made where you had to be careful. You had to be careful because some of those turrets would camouflage into the platform. It was challenging, which is fun. So kudos to you, art department. 2 thumbs up on the art. Very happy about it. All right, the bottom line here, guys. Overall target rating, I'm going to give it an average. It was average. If the 103 would have remained in the raid instead of the 106, it would have been 2 thumbs up on target rating. That's with the actual target, targets that were hittable, the mechanics of it, everything that details within the targets, target accessibility, target reaping. I would have, but with the introduction of the 106 the way it was, the best I can do is average. Points and seat time, too much. Poor rating. Thumb down on that one. Overall gaming quality rating, poor, mainly comes from support and no communication. I understand, I do networks for a living, guys. I understand the complications that comes with lag in a game. But it's fixable. It is fixable if you have people in place that know what they're doing. Support and lack of communication, which has been a constant thorn in your side, KIXEYE, is the reason I gave overall gaming quality of poor. during this particular event. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the 106 target. Not everybody is going to agree with me about this. Some will. I think that there's a lot of frustration on the forums about the introduction of the 106 and why it was introduced. I understand target progression and damage progression and difficulty progression, and I understand that should be part of the raid series. But this was very poorly done, especially after we were assured the Phoenix fleet was the Alpha hull. Since we've started the 3 raid series for a year, this has been our target progression. In January and February and March, we never had anything listed as a Tier 7 target, to the best of my knowledge. Now, this is going off the spreadsheet I create from the event briefings. We had Tier 6, none in January. Tier 6, we had a 100 in February and a 100 and a 107 in Utopia in March. That was the siege raid. That's when we used the cannoneers and the not icebreakers. The other one. The April, May, and June, the garrison raid. Icebreakers and the gridirons or the monoliths. Started off, first raid, no Tier 7 target. Second raid, a 100. Third raid of that series in June, we had a 100, and it was the targets were a little harder. It was a little bit more difficult, but it was doable, no problems. So we got into the mindset, guys, that first raid, no Tier 7. Second raid, we were going to have 1 Tier 7 target. In the third raid, the Superstore raid, Hull Store raid, whatever you want to call it, we had 2 Tier 7 targets that paid out more points. You completely did away with that this time. We started off the raid with a Tier 7 target in July. And then we went to the 100 and the 103 in August. And then we went to a 100 and a 106 in September. There's no pattern here, Kicks. There's no logical pattern to what you're doing, and when there's no pattern to what you're doing, we as players can't anticipate what we should do to be ready for these events, and it's incredibly frustrating. I haven't talked to anybody that plays this game that wants to do poorly. Everybody would like to do well in these events and to be knowledgeable about what's happening. But I have no idea what's going to happen in the skirmish raid. Are we going to have a Tier 7 target in October? Are we not going to have a Tier 7 target? If we do, what's going to happen in November? What's going to happen in December at the Superstore raid? We just, there's no way for us to know. You won't divulge any information. When you're asked questions, you say, we can't comment. I get that to an extent. I understand that. However, there's some things that you need to declassify. Okay, you just need to calm down on the classification stuff just a little bit and be a little bit more open and honest about the direction things are going so we can prepare properly. That's target progression. It's harder targets, more damage, more resistance, different things like that. But it progresses up. It doesn't move down. It doesn't move lateral. It progresses up. What could you have done, Kixeye, to make the targets more acceptable in the 106 target? This is strictly my opinion. I want you to notice there's three items here that you could have done that would have made the targets accessible to not only the Skyfire fleet, which we'll get into that in just a second as well, and the Phoenix fleet. You could have eliminated the charged armors on the drones. Or, now I want you guys to see, it says or, it doesn't say and. Once again, I go back to understanding target progression. These things could have been effective for a new target and still been challenging and fun to engage and eventually be doable. Or you could have not started the fleets automatically as soon as you click the start battle button, and make sure that only one fleet gets triggered at a time. As soon as we go into the 106, 2 fleets come at us that take forever to kill those drones, and they do a massive amount of damage. Massive amount of damage. Or you could have removed the evade from the drones. One of those 3 items would have made the 106 target more acceptable. Now, I understand that no matter what you guys do, people are going to get on the forums and they're going to whine and they're going to cry and they're going to be upset. Hey, it's time to put on your big boy pants. That's you run a gaming company. That's the way it happens. But one of these 3 things would have made the targets more acceptable to the community and be centered around the Phoenix fleet, which you said these tier 7 targets were going to be centered around. Why is the community so upset? Why is some of the community so upset? Well, it says it right there. In the event briefing that we had for Steel Curtain, Skyfire fleets are more effective in the new 106 target. I didn't build Skyfires. I didn't need to build Skyfires. If I paid attention to the information that you, KIXEYE, submitted to the community, I should not have had to build Skyfire fleets. Shouldn't have had to. That's why I busted my hump to get the Phoenix fleet, to get the new missiles, to get the new carbon fiber casings special, because I wanted the alpha hull. I wanted the hull that was supposed to be the go-to hull, the skill hull for the next raid series, which was the assault series. That created tons of backlash. When you put this out there that the Skyfire fleet is more effective in the 106, you did it to yourself. Now, I understand that Doom Rooster is no longer the CM. However, he was the CM. And he said the Skyfire carrier is your best bet for tier 6 targets. Apollos and Rhinos should be okay in the tier 5 targets, but the Skyfire is specifically designed with tier 6 in mind, not tier 7. I'm sorry that the Skyfire fleet didn't do well against the Hellstar City. It wasn't designed to do well against the Hellstar City, because the Hellstar City was a tier 7 target, not a tier 6 target, with the Phoenix set up to be the go-to for the S target, tier 7. So this was done on July the 7th. That post was made by a KIXEYE employee. So your community reads this. They make their decision based on what they want to hit in the upcoming raid events for this series. Me being part of that community, I chose to build the Phoenix fleets. That's what I chose to do. So that's why I made the decision, because you told me that's what I needed to do. Now, during the event, a moderator, not a KIXEYE employee, but a KIXEYE representative, puts this into the Steel Curtain raid event discussion. The Skyfires were incapable of completing the 103 target from the last raid. They had several problems getting past, or severe problems getting past, the Hellstar's charged armor. And the swirling field of death ate Skyfires due to them being much slower than the Phoenix. What's the Skyfire doing in a 103 target? 103 target's a tier 7 target. I thought that the Skyfire is specifically designed for tier 6 A set. That's the explanation that we received during the event as to why the 106 was added and the 103 taken away. It's not right. That's not right at all. Any shape, form, I don't care how you put it, that is not acceptable. Moving forward, and you can see the big bold letters TRUST. Do I trust KIXEYE enough to click on the PayPal or the Visa button to add coins to my account? No, I do not. I do not. I will not coin anymore this game because I do not trust what you say. That's not a threat, guys. That's not me trying to cry and whine. And I know a lot of you are going to say that, but I'm not trying to do that. It's not my point here, guys. I'm not going to give you money, my money, when you pull those kinds of switches on me. I'm not going to coin, and I would coin probably the Fangtooth to get it, to make sure I had 4 ready by the first raid. I would probably do the best I could, that I could afford reasonably, to coin some to get those Fangtooths ready. But I'm not going to now. I don't know if the Fangtooth is going to be the go-to hull. Is it the Alpha hull? Is it not the Alpha hull? If it's not the Alpha hull, what is the Alpha hull? Is the Fangtooth going to have a flagship? Everyone assumes that it's going to, but we've had absolutely no communication about it. And if we do have a flag for the Fangtooth, what's the build time going to be on it? Most Fangtooth builds are 20 days. 20 days. And the raid is coming at us in less than 30. So in all actuality, I have no idea what you're going to do with the FM content this coming week, how many items you're going to add in there to keep tokens away from us. So I have no idea if I'm going to have 1 or 2 boats ready for this upcoming raid. So moving forward, trusting you, no, I do not trust you. I do not trust you enough to spend my money with you. And here's why. I want you to understand specifically why I do not trust you at this moment. First of all, you do not know your own product. This was incredibly on display with a big sign when you added the Axiom turret to the retrofit lab and then pulled it out. You had no idea what you're doing. You have no idea the amount of damage the Axiom turret already made to the current Conqueror hulls. You put it in the retrofit lab and then pulled it out when people started complaining about it. Second point as to why you don't know your own product. You put a Hellstar City and a 103 target in the August raid and then expected the Skyfire to kill that Hellstar City. Do you not know that the Skyfires are not going to do well? Do you not know your own product and when you're coding it? To know that the Hellstar first is not meant to do it. It's a tier 7 target. Second, if players go into that target with Skyfires, they're going to get creamed. So why would you make the 103-106 switch? Why is it your reason to put the 106 there is because the Skyfire can't do the 103? Did you not know this when you were creating the event for August? You don't know your own product. I'm sorry, but that's it. The facts are there. You do not understand what you're doing. The players in the community know the product better than you know the product. KIXEYE changed the parameters on another reason I don't trust you at this moment. You changed the parameters of the tier 6-7 and the alpha beta hull relationship without warning us. You waited to the last minute, the very, very last minute. Actually, the event briefing is where we heard about the 106. That's where I heard about it. Why didn't you warn us sooner? Why didn't you warn us sooner? If you were going to allow a boat, a beta hull that's designed for Tier 6, and you were going to choose to create a target in the Tier 7 that boat could kill and not the Alpha hull, why didn't you tell us? You knew you were going to do it back in late August. The Crib Show. Crib, this has got nothing to do with you guys. But it was disclosed, and you can watch the Crib Show, the URL is right there on the screen. Between minute 2 and 50 seconds and 4 minutes and 25 seconds, there was a discussion shown where there was a closed preview where the Fangtooth was shown to some players. A closed preview. Now, obviously, this information was not supposed to be let out of the bag. And I could tell that by Ruspik's facial expression and his comment he made about, well, I guess it's okay to talk about it now. Why was it a closed preview? In the past, you've done first come, first served previews, open previews for all those that get in on time. Why did only a few players have access to see this, to play with this Fangtooth? Why do us other players don't have the same access that some do? Guys, if you got into this closed preview, kudos to you. This has had nothing to do against you. If I'd had an opportunity to do it, I'd have done it too. But why? Why closed preview? Why this super secret stuff? Fourth reason that I don't trust you right now, KixEye, is you never bothered to communicate with me. I am part of the community, the BP community. BP community is huge. You don't bother to communicate. You don't tell us anything. You know, you create the whip. You don't meet your deadlines or dates with the whip. Do you really? I'm going to take my ball and go home because somebody's complaining that, well, I put it in the whip that this item was coming out on this date, and it didn't, so all these people are fussing at me, so I'm just going to take my ball and go home. Man, yeah, people are going to complain. Put your big boy pants on, shake it off, and don't worry about it. You don't communicate with me. You don't let me know what's going on. I don't know if I click on the plus button and add coin to my account, and I actually apply that coin to what I think I need to do to make myself a better player, to be more competitive. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I don't know if I'm making a horrible choice or a great choice because I don't know anything. I don't know anything. Can my trust be re-earned? Oh, of course it can. Of course you can re-earn my trust. You can stop creating and changing stuff. Stop creating turrets and then swing the PvP defense side way on this side and then come back and say, well, we screwed up. That turret does way too much damage, so let's create this boat that gives concussive deflection and swing PvP attack back this way. Well, now we're coming out with a new concussive gun that goes on top of your OP-10 that does 800,000 damage. So there goes all my Tier 6 Conqueror hulls. Back and forth, wild swings. Small changes, KixEye. Small changes. Know your product. Decide on, stick with, and communicate a target projection plan. Are we going to do Tier 7 no target, Tier 7 1 target, Tier 7 3 target, or 2 targets? What are you going to do with target progression in the upcoming raids? And I'm asking because you need to let us know. You need to come up with a plan of target progression. Are you going to increase the amount of targets we have to hit? And if you are or are not going to, are those current targets or new targets going to cause more damage, have more defenses? What's going to happen with those? What can we expect? Quit this wishy-washy stuff, back and forth. Create a business plan, stick to the business plan. It's pretty simple. It's business 101. No more closed previews. You can't do that. You can't let a few players have access to something and then make them sign a non-disclosure agreement so they can't share it with anybody. That's not fair. I mean, it's not fair. I deserve my dollar that I spend with you is the exact same value as the dollar that another player that got on the closed preview spends. It's the same value. My seat time, when the watch ticks per second, it's the same time. I deserve the same chance to preview these items as anyone else does. No more closed previews. And again, this has been pounded and pounded and pounded into your head. Not more communication, but clear communication. On the positive side, yes, you have been more open. You've had 2 Kicks Eye employees on every show about OP10, bounty, and things. Kudos, you're headed in the right direction. That's great. But you've got to be more clear. When you're asked a question, we can't see if the NSA is allowing you to talk about the item that's being asked. Just tell us. I, as a player, am more likely to spend my money on something I know is going to work, not on something that might, or I don't know is either going to work or is not going to work. So yes, of course, guys. I mean, I'll say this again. You guys have an amazing game, and I understand that the difficulties that you're having with your coding. If you change one thing that was written, code that was written 4 years ago, what does it affect down the line? I understand that. I get that. But all you've got to do is just be honest with your community, and not do this flip-flop stuff. And when you see forums blowing up, when you see your community frustrated and upset, can you not get on there and say something? Are you not willing to make a change during a cycle, during a raid? I mean, I know you can do it. You've done it. I know you can change damage output. You can change the configuration of targets. You can change its resistances or its defenses. You can change things during a raid. You should do that. Guys, once again, in closing, I appreciate if you watched all 40 minutes of this. Kudos to you. I'm going to post this on several different places. If you agree or if you disagree, I completely understand. You have your opinion just like I have my opinion. And maybe one day we can see the game headed on an upward curve instead of that. Peace out, guys.